Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm acrylic artist Joni Young, and today I'm going to be showing you how to paint this pretty West Coast sunset using lots of color, of course, because that's what I do. I'll be posting all the colors and brushes and the size of canvas we're using in the description box below. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment and like. Also share this video with others. Thanks for watching, you guys. Let's go ahead and get started. Working on a 12 by 16 double primed canvas, we're going to begin with a mini fan brush. I'm taking white, yellow, and red, and I'm going to begin in the center, twirling and making big swirly circles. Now you'll need a little bit of water on your brush, and you're going to have to go back and reapply paint quite often for this. So you'll notice how I start with a corner of the fan brush, and then I drag and lightly pull using the full width of the brush as I let off. So I'm just going to continue to keep adding neon red and cadmium yellow, neon yellow, and titanium white, making this swirl get larger and larger towards the edges of the canvas. So now I'm using more neon yellow and white, going in between where there's some spaces of white canvas showing, and then slightly over the red when I want to create more of an orange color. Now, living on the west coast of Vancouver Island really inspired this painting today. This is totally intuitive. That's why I'm not explaining it while I'm filming, so I'm just doing a voiceover here for you guys because I really didn't know the steps I was taking, so I couldn't really guide you along during the process. Now I'm taking, with the same little fan brush, cobalt blue, titanium white, and just a little bit of that neon red, and I'm doing long skinny swoops and loops, one inside another, to create this really neat kind of groovy pattern. I'm really having fun with creating layers of patterns, sort of making skies look like a kaleidoscope a little bit. Just been experimenting, and like I said in my past videos, I always want to try something new. I hate getting just stuck doing the same thing. I'm constantly feeling like I want to explore different ideas, different patterns, different styles. So I think that really helps me grow as an artist, and during this process I want to share it with you guys and hope to inspire you to do the same thing. Now you can see I'm using a little bit more neon red on the bottom left, and then picking up a little bit of the blue and the white. More cobalt blue this time, so it's darker. Again, following that pattern of skinny, long, exaggerated loops. They get pointier and really skinny as they get towards the center of the canvas, which is going to be our sun. Picking up a little bit more white now, I want to create some lighter shades. I'm not using a whole lot of water at all for this. I've got a lot of paint on my brush and I keep going back to load it up each time. So I'm going to do the same pattern all around the sides of the canvas, pulling it in and drawing our eyes to the center of the canvas. That will be our point of interest right now. Loading my brush up again, and I'm going to come from this side now with a little bit of purple, neon red, some blue. Not washing my brush out. I want those colors to blend and mix on the canvas. So again, that's cobalt blue, dioxazine purple, neon red, and titanium white. Now it'll be lighter or darker depending on how much of each color you use. Now I just picked up extra white to lighten some of the shades in between those lines right here. And I'm going to do the same on this side. Now I'm switching to a large blending brush and I'm going to soften a little bit of the edges. I'm not pulling too hard so that I take off that pattern I just created. I just want to soften it up a little bit so it's easier on the eyes. And this is going to be the background, though I didn't know it at the time, but it's going to be the background to a beautiful seascape and sunset with a few trees and some clouds that we're going to add. So I'm just softening. I've got the tiniest bit of water on my brush for this. And I picked up a little bit more of the neon red. Back to a mini fan brush. And dioxazine purple. Now notice how the bristles are split, so it kind of looks like a little rake. I want that. I don't want all the bristles to come together because then it won't create this neat little pattern. So when your brush is all spread apart like that, it will help. Phthalo blue now. Not washing my brush. Now I washed my brush and I'm taking light turquoise. So it's sort of a rainbow order of colors that I'm painting in now. I tend to do that a lot in my paintings without even realizing I'm doing it. And then because I've got a little bit of red up there, I thought the turquoise would look really nice right next to that, as they're complementary colors, green and red. So I'm softening each color into one another so that there's not a drastic switch of color. I like it to be gradual. And if you're painting wet on wet, you can easily do this. Now, if you're in a room where it's really hot or you're painting outside and your paint is drying really fast and you can't blend right away, it's really handy to have a little spray bottle next to you to just spray that paint or just mist it lightly so that it stays wet all the time. I've got cadmium yellow, neon yellow that I'm dragging lightly, and then making orange with a neon red, blending slightly into it part way. Now I've got neon violet by Holbein, And I'm lightly pulling that over the top right, over top of the Dioxazine purple, just to give it an extra pop of color. This is one of my favorite colors, is this. It's very close to quinacridone violet, but it's better. The color is just so beautiful. Now you can get a set of 6 through Amazon, but there's a great art store in Nanaimo that I go to called Iron Oxide Art Supplies, and I can pick out any color that I want. I don't have to get the set of 6, because there's a few colors in the set of 6 that I don't use. My go-to colors are the neon red, neon pink, neon yellow, and that light purple violet. So with a round brush now, I'm just going to start defining a little bit more right in the center there with neon yellow. So lightly dabbing and then pulling and sweeping where I want to have a little bit of movement. Softening around the edges with a clean, slightly damp, large blending brush. And then I added a little bit of phthalo blue and cobalt blue. Again, just very, very softly. And I've got some burnt sienna that I dry brushed in on the bottom left. Now I'm switching to a small flat brush, phthalo blue, a little bit of white, and I'm going to define a little bit more of this pattern down here. Now some more of the purple, and I'm mixing it with cobalt blue, and then I just go straight to Dioxazine purple. Up in the top corner, some more of that light purple violet, a little bit of Dioxazine purple as well. And I'm putting both colors on my brush at the same time and letting them blend and fall where they do naturally on the canvas. I don't like to blend the colors too much on my palette. I really like the natural effect of doing it directly on the canvas. Now, if this is scary for you, then just do a bunch of practice paintings, kind of like just painting exercises till you get really comfortable with this, and just have fun exploring color and shape and different brush techniques that you can practice on and have fun experimenting with. So taking some more white, just creating some softer shades, and then I'm just going to dry this background off so that I can begin the next layer and build up to the foreground. So I'm just going to define the colors a little bit more down here and get those edges of the canvas down there on the bottom. It can be kind of tricky with this type of easel. Now with a clean flat square brush, titanium white, a little bit of water on your brush, start in the center using the corner of your brush and try to do one big swirl. And then soften and add a little bit more to make it wider on the very outside. And then a large blending brush to soften it even more. Because we have so much color and pattern on, there's so much going on. This painting is quite busy right now. I want to soften some parts of it so that it's not too crazy to look at. So a light halo glow like this with a few sun rays in white, and then soft yellow right in here will really help to do that. A little bit more white with a round brush, dabbing and then flicking. So now I'm working on the horizon, and I've got dioxazine purple and burnt sienna on a round brush. No water. So this is a very skinny line because it's far away. And then I'm just wiggling with a little square brush and flicking down for a slight reflection in the water. And I'm going to soften underneath the right side a little bit. Just wiggle. I'm taking some cadmium yellow and some neon orange, and I really just want to add some more warmth to this. We have a lot of blue and cool purples going on, so I want to add some more neon red, neon orange, and cadmium yellow. Now I'm using a medium-sized filbert brush, and I'm going to create some little clouds around the shape and the direction of that halo and the sun rays using cobalt blue and white. I'm just doing little dabs and sort of just scumbling around and leaving little spaces. They're going to be very small here on towards the left side, and then they're going to get larger towards the right side. And I'm even doing a little reflection of them in the water and some little ripples. I'm going to outline in a bit of cadmium yellow and dioxazine purple. This will make them show up more. Now I've got cadmium yellow and a little bit of white in my brush with a little bit of the dioxazine purple still. And I added a little bit of turquoise here. I'm just playing around with color at this point, just experimenting and seeing what colors are going to look best together, what's really going to make these clouds pop out. Purples and yellows and greens are good complementary colors, so that's why I chose more of a green on the purple right side of the canvas. And then I just try softening it by adding a little bit of titanium white in there. I'm just going to pull a little skinny suggestion of a cloud right through the middle there. Using more purple this time. Some neon red. Outlining parts of the clouds with the neon red and then pulling and flicking. I'm going to do this with some orange as well. No water, just straight paint. And then follow with that color in the water for a little bit of a reflection. Again, neon red. Bit of neon orange. More purple, red, and cadmium yellow. A little bit of white, and I'm going to make some larger clouds now. I'm just pushing and wiggling and twirling with that round brush, not thinking too much about exactly how I want these clouds to look. I'm kind of just going with the flow of it. It's more about placement and color, light and shadow at this point for me. Just added a little bit of turquoise. Some more of the cad yellow. And then more turquoise and a little bit of dioxazine purple for a nice contrast and shadow underneath those clouds. Some phthalo blue. Some white. More phthalo blue up here, and it's mixing in with the wet paint underneath. Now some more dioxazine purple. Pushing where I want them to be thicker and bigger, and then letting off and using only the tip when I want them to be very skinny and have the little wiggles and squiggles. Now I'm taking neon red right on the tip of my round brush, and then neon orange, and just dabbing and wiggling very lightly, not blending. And I'm doing soft little flicks for some sun rays in the background, using red again, cadmium yellow, and neon orange. I'm thinking about at this point of adding something in the foreground. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do yet, so I just started playing around with some color in the water, different paint strokes. So I'm using light purple here, which is looking really pretty against that soft pink in the water and the orange. And I'm going to add that to the inside of the clouds, making them look a little more 3D and softer. They were just a little harsh looking. To make them show up better, I added this light purple, and I used titanium white, phthalo blue, and dioxazine purple. So with a round brush, dioxazine purple and cadmium yellow, no water at all, and more purple, I'm going to begin with a foreground. Now I thought it would look really neat to have a little tiny island right here in the water. So I'm just painting in little lumps, rocks, And then I'm going to begin adding a few trees. So I love this contrast. I think this is looking really cool so far. I'm going to add a few trees using the mini fan brush again. Corner of my brush where I want them to be very small, and then the full width of the brush where I want the branches to be larger and full. I'm careful not to make them too solid as I want to see the colors in between the branches behind them. And I'm going to add another tree right there. Maybe a couple more, we'll see. And notice how I'm not making all the trees the same height. So keep that in mind when you're painting trees or adding them to one of your paintings. It's too boring to have them all the same height. You need to change it up a little bit for your composition and have a few different sizes and heights. So I just decided to add a little bit more rock in front of them and behind them. And I'm just scumbling lightly with my brush, making them skinny with little lines on the left side of them. And I decide here that I just want to add one more tree. Now for this tree, I've got less paint because it's a little bit further away, and I'm also using a filbert brush. So that all my trees don't look the same, I like to switch up my brushes. I go between a fan brush and a filbert brush. So I'm just adding little bits of sun rays here and there, white, neon yellow, neon red, neon orange. Right on the horizon there. Just a little soft glow, and notice how I'm not putting any yellow in the very center of the sun. I'm just dabbing a little bit of titanium white in there. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this today and learned a lot. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and like this video. Stay tuned next week for a brand new tutorial.